Hello, friends. Welcome to our channel, The Midnight Thrill. Our channel has come up with a new idea. Our role detective model was only Sherlock Holmes, but we decided to accept other detectives also as a part of our podcast project. We are introducing a regional detective, Byomkesh Bakshi, who is a detective of Bengal, India. Byomkesh is a truth seeker. We are introducing Byomkesh Bakshi for the first time in English in international platform. This English translated version was created by Monimala Dhar. Byomkesh Bakshi is a detective created by Saradendra Bandyopadhyay. Hope you will like the character and her enthusiasm. Thank you.
From the world literature, few thriller stories make our this audio show, The Midnight Thrill.
Special thanks to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Anchor, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. We are starting The Hidden Heirloom, a story by Saradendra Bandyopadhyay. The main characters are starred and played by
Byomkesh Bakshi by Abhradeep Mukherjee.
Ajit Bandyopadhyay by Sagnik Ghosh. The Hidden Heirloom. Bomkesh was out of work for some time now. The people of this country have a very bad habit of not even informing the police about small crimes like theft, but to have peace and prosperity. That is the philosophy of Indians. If something serious happens, the police gets to know. But no one spends hard earned money on a private detective. For some time, they moan and groan and complain, even abuse the police. But then they forget about the whole thing. Murders are also committed in our country, but most of the time they are acts of anger, unplanned, and obviously unintelligent. So that the murderers are caught at once, put into jail, and later hanged. So it is not surprising that the truth seeker, Bhumkesh Bakshi, had hardly any truth to seek. Bhumkesh was not at all bothered about this. He continued reading the newspaper from its northwest corner to the southeast corner in detail, and the rest of the time he spent in his library behind closed doors. But I was getting impatient with so much of free time. Though my job was not to catch criminals, but to entertain readers with my stories free of cost, in fact, that was the motto of my life. I was addicted to the catching of criminals. As a result, life was getting as boring as a saltless diet. So that morning, while drinking tea, I asked Bomkesh, Bomkesh, what has happened, brother? Has the thieves and criminals of Bengal become saints and sages?
No, you are getting proof of that in the newspaper every day, my friend.
Bomkesh smiled and said, True, but why are we not getting a chance to catch them? I asked.
Patience, friend, patience. We will get a chance. The fish will take the bait at its own time. We can't force it. All intelligent criminal is becoming a paradox in a country, though it's not my fault. Most of the names in the police diary is a small fry, Zoji. That is not my interest. Those big fish hardly swim up into caught into the net, Ajit. I am interested in those. And you must be knowing that these ponds or rivers which have large fish are a temptation to people like me.
I said, Your similes have a fishy stink in them. If there was a psychiatrist here, he would have certainly concluded that you would leave your job of truth seeking and start selling fishes.
In that case, the psychiatrist would have been terribly made a mistake.
Just then there was a knock on the door. The postman delivered a letter. Letters were a rare commodity in our lives, so its arrival instantly aroused our interest. It was an insured letter in Bomkesh's name. When I pulled out the letter from the envelope, we were more impressed. There was a bronze and blue monogram on top of it. The paper was thick, smooth, and expensive. Attached to the letter was a check of 5,000 rupees. Bomkesh read the short letter and passed it to me smilingly.
Take it, a very serious matter. A mystery in the home of rich elite in North Bengal, Ajit. I have been asked to go there post haste. Even the traveling expense have been advanced. The secretary of the gentleman has written, Kumar Tridip Narayan Roy has asked me to write this letter to you. He has heard about you and wants you help and advice regarding a very serious matter. So we will be grateful if you can come here as soon as possible. Let us know which train you are boarding. Blah blah blah. We will send your car to the station. Your etc. Blah. No
No
fact
fact
could
could be
be.
gathered from the letter.
Yes, Bojit, sir. Correct.
It seems very serious. Could you make out anything from the writing of the paper? Even knowledgeable about these things as I know.
No, bro, not in this case. But what from I know about the rich our in our country, I wouldn't be surprised. It may sound sarcastic, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kumar Tridevendra had a nightmare that his pet elephant had been stolen by his rival. Frightened, he has called for a detective like me.
No, Bomkesh. I think we're exaggerating. Can't you see that he has already sent so much of money? Something serious must have happened there.
That's your mistake. That's all of your mistake. If the patient is wealthy, you think his illness is also serious. It's usually the opposite. A doctor is called for in the case of a rich even to treat a small pimple which is in your head. But a poor dies unattended, even if he is seriously ill like cancer.
Anyway, Bomkesh, it's a waste talking to you. Are you going? Bomkesh thought for a moment.
Since I have nothing to do, let us go for 2 days. At least we will see some new places. And I don't think you have gone to those parts.
I was very eager to go, but I hesitated. Bomkesh, should I go? They have only called for you.
Nothing is wrong in your going, Ajit. You are a part of me only. And in fact, Kumar Bahadur will be happy to see two of us instead of one. Besides, since someone else is spending the money, it's a moral duty to go according to the scriptures. We should always go on a pilgrimage at other people's expense. Pack your bag, Ajit Bandyopadhyay.
I could not remember which scripture had given Bomkesh such a wise advice. Anyway, I did not need much persuasion to accompany Bomkesh. We left that evening by train. Nothing much happened in the journey except that we met a very friendly man. There were only three of us in the compartment. After chatting with us for some time, the gentleman asked.
Oh, where are you going?
In reply, Bomkesh smiled and pleasantly asked.
Huh, where are you going?
The gentleman was a bit bewildered by the question.
I will get down at the next station.
Bomkesh again smiled and said,
Haha, we will get down the station after that.
There was no need to tell such a lie, but I realized that Bomkesh might be having some reason for doing so. As soon as the train stopped, the gentleman got down. It was quite dark outside, and he soon vanished into the crowd. After a few stations, I got down at the platform to stretch my legs, when I spotted a gentleman in the compartment next to ours. He was staring at me, but as soon as our eyes met together, he ducked it. Excitedly, I told Bomkesh, Listen,
I know. The gentleman is in the next compartment. Haha, things are not so simple as they seem, Ajit. That's good.
after this incident, I tried to trace the gentleman at each station but failed. Early next morning, we reached our destination. We would have to travel for about 6 or 7 miles by car to reach the house. The station was small. An employee of Mr. Roy was waiting for us with an expensive car. He welcomed us warmly, and soon we were on our way, moving fast through the lonely roads. The employee was elderly and very discreet, because when Bumkesh tried to probe, he said that he knew nothing. He was only obeying orders we were receiving and taking us to his employer, that is Kumar Bahadur. We looked at each other and remained quiet for the rest of our journey. When we reached there, we found that we were entering a huge ancient mansion. It consisted of 5 wings. There was a beautiful garden, hot house, swimming pool, tennis court, guest house, and etc. It was truly well furnished. There were a lot of workers too, servants and employees all around. We were taken in by Mr. Ryan's private secretary. We were given a whole suite to ourselves. The secretary told us,
Please freshen up and have some refreshments. Kumar Bahadur will meet you soon. Please be seated.
after a good breakfast, we were relaxing while smoking when the secretary came and told us to follow him. I realized the secretary had some problem in speaking with us, absolutely. Kumar Bahadur was waiting for us in the library. We felt as if we were going to have an audience with the king. The grand welcome, the very name of Kumar Trivendra Narayan Roy, inspired some kind of awe. But when we met him, we found that he was simply clad, pleasant, fair, and good looking young man. There was no pomposity in his behavior. He stood up when he saw us, folded his hands in a discreet manner in greeting, looking hesitatingly at Bomkesh, and said,
Are you Bomkesh Babu?
Bomkesh introduced me and said,
And he is my friend, assistant, and hopefully future biographer. That's why I always take him along with wherever I go.
Trivendra Narayan smiled and said,
I hope your biographer won't be written in a long time. I am glad that Ojit Babu has accompanied you. It is through his writings that I got to know about you.
I was filled with joy, the kind that every writer feels when his writing is mentioned. We realized that although he was wealthy, he was educated and intelligent. The library was packed with different books on the table, too, some proving the fact that the library was not only a showpiece to be kept, but also that the books were regularly used and read. After some small talk, Kumar Bahadur asked his secretary to leave us alone and also shut the door behind him. Then he started speaking.
The job for which I have given you all the trouble and brought you here is very, very confidential and serious. So before I tell you anything, you have to promise that no other person will know about this matter because it concerns the prestige of our family.
I don't think that it is necessary for us to promise anything because we consider all the affairs of our clients as highly confidential. That is our profession's etiquette. Anyway, how do you want us to take our vow of secrecy? Any Gita or what?
Kumar smiled and said,
There is no need for a vow. Your word is equally valuable.
I was a bit hesitant. Kumar Bahadur, can I not even mention this affair in the form of a story which I read myself? A determined Tridib said.
No, I don't want any discussion about this.
I sighed with disappointment at missing a chance of writing a very good story.
Don't worry, we will not reveal anything. You please continue.
Said Bomkesh. Kumar was quiet for some time and then said,
We have very old and expensive jewels, stones, and diamonds in our family. I don't think you know about it.
I do know a little about those, especially a particular diamond which is rare and exquisite.
You know
Bomkesh
about
added.
it.
Yes, I know it. Last month there was an exhibition in Calcutta and that diamond was shown there. I read in the newspaper. Yes, but I was not fortunate enough to see the diamond. My
Kumar
misfortune.
was silent for some time.
You may never get a chance to see it. It has been stolen.
Stolen!
Bomkesh echoed. Tridib said,
That is why I have brought you here. Let me start at the very beginning. Our family dates back to the times of the Mughals. It was during this time that my ancestors were given this land as a gift. My ancestor was a bold and courageous man who persuaded the emperor to give a deed of grant for the land. We still have the deed with us in the family. The diamond has been handed down from those early days till now. There is saying that no harm will come to our family if the diamond remains with us, but if it goes to any other branch of the family, our family will be destroyed. The heir to the property is the eldest son. This is the rule of our family. The younger sons will get an allowances. So after my father's death 2 years ago, I inherited the property. I am an only child. At present, I have an uncle who gets a few thousands a month as an allowance from the family coffer. This is just an introduction. Now let me tell you how the diamond disappeared. When I got the invitation to exhibit my diamond in the exhibition. I took it in a special Calcutta. I only heaved a sigh of relief when I handed it over to the organizers. You must be knowing that in this exhibition, exquisite jewels and diamonds from the royal families of Baroda, Hyderabad, Patiala, etc. were displayed. It was a prestigious affair and the government itself was responsible. So it seemed impossible for the diamond to get stolen. It was kept in a glass case and only I had the keys to it. The exhibition went on for 7 days. On the eighth day, I came back home with the diamond. It was then that I discovered it had been stolen, and what I had brought home from the exhibition was only an inexpensive imitation worth about 200 rupees.
Kumar was silent. Bomkesh asked.
Okay. Why didn't you let the police or the organizers know about the theft? They would have been helpful.
Kumar said.
That would have been useless because as soon as the theft was discovered, I knew who had stolen the diamond.
Oh, okay. Please continue.
Said Bomkesh and looked searchingly at Kumar. Kumar said.
It is not a matter to be discussed. I did not let my close family know about it in case there was a scandal and people got to know about it, or if it went to the press. The only other person who knows about it is our old Diwan, who looks after the finances of our family. I will tell you everything in detail. I have already told you that I have an uncle. He stays in Calcutta and gets a few thousand as an allowance from the estate. You must have heard about him. He is a famous artist and scientist, Sir Digin Roy. He is a strange man. If he was born abroad, he would have been recognized as a genius. His knowledge is vast and he is extremely intelligent. In his young days, he had been discovered some unknown facts about the plaster of Paris. He was knighted by the British government. Even in the world of arts, his talents are well known. You must have heard about him. Everyone knows about the accolades he won in an art exhibition in Paris, where he exhibited a stone statue of Lord Shiva sculpted by him. A multifaceted person like him is a rare phenomenon.
Kumar smiled.
My uncle has a great deal of affection for me, but we don't agree about one thing. He asked me for that diamond. He had an unnecessary desire for it. It was not for its monetary value that he wanted it. He just wished desperately to possess it.
I asked. Wait, how expensive is a diamond?
Probably 3 crores or more. No one can buy it with money in our country. Besides, we never evaluated it. It was regarded as an auspicious charm in our family. It was priceless. Anyways, my uncle even asked my father for the diamond, but my father refused. After my father passed away, he asked me for it. He said that he did not want any allowances. Instead, he just requested me to give the diamond. My father warned me about it before he died. So I told him that he could ask anything else but the diamond, as it would go against my father's death wish. He said nothing, but I realized that he was very displeased with me. After that, I did not meet my uncle, but I got a letter from him on the day I returned from the Calcutta with the diamond after the exhibition. It was a short letter, but enough to make me nearly faint with anxiety. Read this letter.
He opened the door of the secretariat table with his keys and took out a letter. It was written in beautiful handwriting. Dear Tridip, don't be sad. I did not want to give it, so I took it myself. Don't believe in the superstitious story of your family being destroyed if you lose the diamond. It was just a ploy of our ancestors to ensure that it remained with only one branch of the family. God bless you, Tridip. Your uncle, Digin Roy. Boomkesh returned the letter silently. Kumar continued.
As soon as I read the letter, I ran to the locker room, opened the vault, took out the box with the diamond, and found that it was there. I called the Diwan. He got it checked by an expert, an experienced fellow, who said that it was mere imitation, but it looked exactly like the original.
Kumar opened an almirah and took out a velvet box. The rounded stone reflected the light and sparkled as soon as the lid was opened. Kumar lifted it with his two fingers and passed it to Byomkesh.
No one except a jeweler will know the difference. This one costs only about 200 rupees.
For some time the two of us looked at the stone. Then Byomkesh gave it back to Tribindranayan and said with a sigh,
So my job is to get back the diamond.
Kumar looked keenly at Byomkesh and said,
Yes, I don't want to know how amount for it. Don't worry about the expenses. But please see that this affair is not leaked to the press. Please give me back my diamond. I want it eagerly.
Byomkesh said casually.
Okay. So how soon do you want the diamond back?
Kumar's face shone with happy expectations.
How soon? That means you're sure that you will get it back for me.
Haha,
Byomkesh smiled a little.
it's a very simple matter. I expect a much more complicated mystery. Anyway, what is today? Saturday. You will get at the diamond within next Saturday. So let's go, Ajit.
Saying this, he got up. I also got up after him. After returning to Calcutta, we could do nothing on the first day. We spoke in the evening. Have you chalked out any plan of campaign, Byomkesh?
No,
I asked.
no. Firstly, I will have to see the house and get some information. Other than will I chalk out a plan?
Byomkesh suggested. Byomkesh, tell me one thing. Is the diamond in the house?
Of course, the greed of the diamond made an uncle to steal it from his nephew. So, Ajit, do you think it is possible for him to part it for a movement? Ajit, think. I will only have to find out where he has kept it. And I think.
What do you think, Byomkesh?
No, I think nothing. It's only my guess. I will have to meet old Digin around before I arrive at any conclusion.
I was quiet for some time and then said, Byomkesh, have you considered the moral side of the whole affair?
What affair?
I mean, the way you are going to retrieve the diamond.
Yes, I've thought about it. If it was only simple theft, I would be clapped in chains if I am caught. To set a thief, to catch a thief is a great act of virtue, Ajit.
Maybe, but the laws of the country will not agree to that.
I am not concerned with that at all, to be honest. The lawmakers of the country are free to catch me if they can. Let's see if they can catch me or not.
Next afternoon, Byomkesh went out alone and came back late in the evening. Later, I asked him while sipping a cup of tea, how far have you gone? You have progressed anything?
Not
Distractedly, Byomkesh bit into a samosa and said,
Not much. The old man is hurt like a nut to crack. There is a Nepali chowkidar who has an eye like a hawk. Anyhow, the old man wants a secretary, so I have given 2 applications.
Tell me everything, Byomkesh. Sipping his tea, Byomkesh said,
Whatever Bahadur said was quite true. His uncle is a very shrewd person. The house is like a museum, a collection of beautiful things. He lives alone, but there is no dearth of loyal and trusted employees. Firstly, it is difficult to enter the compound. There are 4 chowkidars with gun at the gate, and they ask 1,000 questions if you wish to go in. It is impossible to scale the 8 feet. Are you listening? 8 feet high surrounding wall, which is topped with iron spikes. If you somehow manage to go through the gate also, flattering the 4 watchmen, then you have to face Ujre Singh, a fearful Nepali servant who is sitting in the front door like a ferocious tiger. If you if
Difficult.
you can't give him a convincing excuse to go in, your chances of getting inside are nil. Simply nil. The arrangements at
Hmm.
night are even better, my friend. The human cars are already there on the top of that four watchdogs, which are left loose in the compound. So it's impossible to get my work down in the silence of the night.
So now what?
There's a way that the old fellow needs a secretary. He has put in an advertisement. The salary is 1,000 rupees, not a bad amount of money, isn't it? And he has to stay in the house. He should be a science graduate and have a knowledge of shorthand and typing and various other qualities. So I have put two applications. Tomorrow is the interview.
Two applications? Why two applications?
One for you and one for me. So that if one fails, the other will pass.
You are pretty intelligent. Next morning, that is on Monday, we went for an interview at 8 in the morning at Sir Digin house. His house was in a posh area of South Calcutta. When we pushed our way through the barricade of watchmen, we found that there were quite a few job seekers waiting for their turn, made to sit in one room, and we looked askance at each other. Byomkesh pretended that we did not know each other. That was our only plan. The master of the house was calling each candidate individually from somewhere inside the house. We were worried that someone would be chosen for the job and we would not be called at all. But luckily, we found that the disappointed candidates were leaving one after the another. After the interview, the last ones which were left were Bhumkesh and I. We were to be interviewed. Needless to say, we had given false names in our applications. Bhumkesh was Nikhilesh and I was Jitendranath. I was mentally reciting my new name in case I should forget it. When a servant came and asked both of us together, we were a little surprised. Till now, each candidate was being called individually. Why were we being called together? Anyway, we followed the servant without a word to the master of the house. In a huge room devoid of any furniture except a big secretariat table, Satyendra Narayan was sitting on a chair behind the table, facing the door. He was a huge, sleeveless Firan. Can you imagine a bulldog with grizzly beard and a mustache? Well, Satyendra looked like one. Your first reaction after seeing him would be to turn around and run from the room. His head was like a huge round vessel. There was a bald patch in the center. He had no chin. His huge, hairy arms reminded one of a frightening ape. Surprisingly, his fingers were delicate, slim, long, and artistic. His eyes were small and deep set, aggressively hunting for an adversary to fight. The man, who resembled a giant from the Arabian Nights, looked as if he had the capacity to do both good and evil. He inspired fear as well as respect. We humbly paid our obeisance and stood in front of the table. The small eyes looked from one to the other and fixed on Boomkesh. Then there was a curious smile on the huge face. I don't know if Bulldog smiles, but if it did, it would have looked like him. The smile vanished. He ordered in a deep voice, Ujre, shut the door. The servant did exactly as he was told and went out. The master glanced at the applications on the table and said, Which one of you is Nikhilesh?
I
Bhumkesh said.
I am Nikhilesh.
The master said, You are Nikhilesh and you are Jitendranath. Have you conspired to apply together?
Sir, I don't know him.
Said Bhumkesh. Really? You don't know each other? But I came to a different conclusion after reading your applications. Anyway, have you passed your MSc exams?
Yes, sir.
From Calcutta University. He picked up a thick book from the table and said, Which year? Petrified, I realized that the book was the University Gazette, which had the names of all the successful candidates of the past years. I began perspiring with nervousness. Now will be caught. But Bomkesh said in a steady voice,
I passed this year, sir. My result came out a week back.
I really have to sigh of relief. The names of this year's candidates were not yet included in the Gazette. The gentleman pushed the book aside and then began questioning Bomkesh. But he could not find any fault or loopholes in his answers. Bomkesh passed the shortened test very easily. The master was pleased and said, "Good, you will serve my purpose. Just sit there." Bumke sat down. Our employer then sat, staring at the table with a frown on his forehead. After some time, he suddenly lifted his head, looked at me, and said, "Ajit Babu?" "Yes?" He burst into laughter like a huge bomb. His body was heaving with uncontrollable laughter.
Shit.
I was puzzled at this sudden burst of amusement and looked at Bomkesh. His expressions on looking at me with an accusing expression told me that I had surely done something wrong. I realized that I had blundered and was full of shame and remorse. I had spoiled everything in a moment with my carelessness. The gentleman's laughter continued about 5 minutes, the sound reverberating in the room. He wiped his tears of laughter and looked at the shamefaced expression and said, "Don't feel so sad, there is no shame in my catching you out. I'm surprised that and amused that you should even imagine being so young in maturity and intelligence you would be able to cheat me." We were silent. He looked at Pumkesh and said, "I did not expect this stupidity from you. You are young, but the shape of your head indicates that you are intelligent." He stared at Bumkesh's head and said, "You have at least 55 ounces of brain in your skull, but it is not enough just to have brains. Everything depends on convolutions. High cheekbones and a prominent jawbone, hook nose, the shape of the face, all indicate a fast thinker and walker, shrewd and stubborn, a great deal of intuition, well developed, reasoning power, but it has not matured yet. Yes, more or less you are intelligent." I felt that he was doing a postmortem of a living person. He was dissecting and weighing Bomkesh's brain, and I was standing by and observing it. The gentleman stopped his soliloquy and said, "Do you know how much brain I have? 60 ounces, 5 ounces more than you. In other words, the difference in the weight of the brain of an ape and a human being. That is the difference between you and me, the brain of us. In fact, there is a bit more of mine." Bomkesh sat like a statue with a blank expression. Again Sir Digindra laughed, and suddenly he became serious and said, "I know that my nephew has sent you to steal something from me. Do you think he will succeed?" Even now Bomkesh did not reply. Observing his silence, the gentleman said, "What's wrong, Bomkesh? Have you forgotten to speak? You have taken up a great task. You tried to disguise yourself to get hold of a great object, so what do you think? Will you succeed?" Bomkesh said coolly,
I have promised Kumar Bahadur that I will give it him the back the stone within 7 days, and I don't fail promises.
Digendra's huge face looked frightening. His puckered, hairy eyebrows knotted on his forehead. "Really? You are very bold and cheeky, but how will you succeed? I will throw you out of my house right now, then how will you come back?" Bumke smiled and said,
Your words have made something obvious, Mr. Digindro. The diamond is in this house, isn't it?
his eyes flashing with anger, the master said, "Yes, it is in the house, but will you be able to find it? Do you have that much of intelligence in your brain?"
Let's see.
The prominent veins on Digendra's forehead started throbbing. His eyes gleamed with revenge. If there was any weapon near him, Bhumkesh would have been at great risk of life. Thank God that there was nothing near at hand. So he shook his head and said, "Look here, Bhumkesh Babu. You think that you are very intelligent, isn't it? You think that you are the greatest detective this side of the Atlantic? I will not throw you out. I won't. You will have the complete freedom to come in and go out of this house. Find it out what you have come for. You have given your word that you will find it within 7 days. I'm giving you 7 years. Find it if you can. And go damned." He stood up and shouted, "Ujja Singh!" Ujja Singh came out at once. The master showed us to him and said, "Look at these two gentlemen, Bhumkesh Babu and Ajit Babu. Allow them to come into my house even if I'm not present. You can move anywhere inside the house. Don't stop them, Ujjwal." Ujjwal Singh looked at us and said,
Yes, sir.
and went out. Then Sir Digin roared like a lion, "Finders, keepers! Have you understood? Bomkesh Chandru." Bomkesh said,
Sir, only Byomkesh, not Byomkesh Chandra. That's not my name.
"Never mind. You will grow old and die, but you will never find the diamond. It is impossible for Bomkesh Bakshi to find what Digin Roy has hidden. If you need the keys to my vaults, you have to ask me. Just ask me. I have priceless things in them, but I don't distrust you. But I am warning you about one thing. Do not destroy my paintings and statues in your eagerness to search for the diamond. If you break or tear or destroy any of my works of art, you will be asked to leave immediately and you will lose your chances of ever getting that diamond." Pleasing us with such genial conversation, he stumped out of the room. We sat facing each other quietly. Bomkesh was also tired after his tete with the old man. His smile was pale when he said,
Let's go back home. Nothing can be done today.
it was insulting and demoralizing for us to be caught while trying to fool someone. So we went back home unhappy and defeated. After taking a cup of tea, I recovered a bit and said, "Bomkesh, it is because of my foolishness that you have been insulted like this. I'm sorry." Bomkesh said,
Yes, you were foolish, but that didn't alter anything. The old man knew everything right from the beginning. Ajit, we should have been more careful. Do you remember the gentleman in the train? The one who said he would get down in the next stop and get to the next compartment? He was this foolish spy. The old man knows every detail of us, each and every detail. We should have been more careful, Ajit. He really made a fool of
"Bomkesh,
us, Ajit. He really made a fool of us. This never happened to me before. Either I will solve this case or leave truth seeking. I promise you.
Bomkesh said after a few minutes of silence
Thank
and subsiding his anger.
thank God that the old man had a terrible weakness. Otherwise, we would have to give it all up.
"What? Weakness? How? Do you still have some
Of
hope?"
course, had he thrown us out then, it would have been difficult. Anyway, since the old man has shown a weakness, we will have to use it, Ajit. Our last opportunity. Okay, to win.
"What weakness are you talking about? I saw no chink in his armor. It's as thin and strong as iron."
But there is a hole, a big one at that, and through that hole only we will manage to enter the house. I don't know why, but these great people always have a tendency to susceptible their weakness. The more intelligent people are, the greater is their pride. So sometimes their intelligence goes to waste. Understood?
"Bomkesh, why are you talking in riddles? Please tell me clearly it is a matter of seriousness, without institutions."
The old man's greatest weakness is his price in his intelligence. I realized it right at the beginning. So I used this to get my work done. Half the battle is won, Ajit, because I have managed to enter the house. Now our only motto is to find the diamond.
You're again talking insinuations. Are you going there again?
Of course, I can't let this chance slip from my hands.
If you go this time, Ujju Singh will stab you with his dagger. Anyway, whatever you want, whatever you do, I'm not in it.
That's not possible, brother. You have to accompany me. We are in it together.
The next day, we went early to Saddigindrana's house. I felt as nervous as a ticketless traveler when we entered the house. But the watchman said nothing to us. Ujja Singh pretended not even to see us. Bhumkesh talked to a servant and got to know that the master of the house was in his studio. Then we began our search. Only Bhumkesh could dare to look for a small stone in this huge mansion. Anyway, anyone else would have been disheartened and would have left the job. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Firstly, it was useless to search those places like almirahs, cupboards, and vaults, where precious things are usually kept. The old man was too sure to keep the diamond in these obvious places. Then where would it be? I had read a story by Edgar Allan Poe where there an important document had been hidden in a very innocuous place. Womkesh was not a person to idle away his time. He began a regular search. He tested the walls to see if these were hollow. He took out nearly every book from a huge cupboard. Sadhgendra's house was a virtual art gallery with beautiful paintings and sculptures. Every room had beautiful pictures and statues made of plaster of Paris. But the house had very little furniture. I did not take more than 2 hours to search the whole house. Our search, of course, was fruitless. Lastly, we went to the studio where Sadhgendra was working. We knocked at the door and the thief was asked us to come in. The room was large. A table covered one side of the room. There were many scientific instruments on the table. As soon as we entered, Sadhgendra roared with laughter. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Hello, Bomkesh Babu. Did you get your touchstone? You will grow a beard like old Rip Van Winkle by the time you get your stone.
I want to
Bomkesh
steal your
said,
steel wall. I want to see this vault. Can I?
Sri Digendra said, sure, here, take the keys. I would have helped you to look for the diamond, but at present I'm busy with this plaster of gas. Ajit Baba will help you answer it. Or maybe will I call Ujjwal Singh?
What's you are doing with this? What's that you are doing?
Bhumkesh stopped his sarcastic comments by asking this question. Satyendra smiled slightly and said, you must have heard about my world famous statues of Nataraj. This is a miniature of the same statue. There is another one on my table which you must have seen. It's not bad as a paperweight. I remember that I had seen an exquisite statue of Nataraj on this table. I realized that this must be the miniature of this famous Nataraj statue. I said admiringly. Is that one the one you exhibited in Paris? He said casually. Yes, the original statue is in stone and at present it is in Louvre. We came out of the room. This man's versatility impressed me greatly. So when Bomke started looking through the vault, I just stood aside. Was it even possible to fight a war with this genius? After his search, Bomke sighed and said,
No, nothing here also. Let's go and sit in the drawing room for some time.
we went to the drawing room. When we entered the room, we found Digin already there, smoking a cigar, proportionate to his size obviously. He looked at Bomkesh and said, Bomkesh Babu, didn't you get your touchstone? Never mind, never mind. First of all, here, and then begin your search again.
Your keys. Have it.
Bumkish gave Sir Digin the keys, which Digin casually put in his pocket and asked me, Ajit Babu, you are a writer, so you must be appreciating true art and beauty. What do you think of all these small statues? Saying this, he handed the miniature of Nataraj to me. The statue was about 6 inches in height and 3 inches in circumference. But even within these limits, it was exquisite. Every expression of the Nataraj's dance of destruction was etched on each part of the body of that little statue. I looked at it admiringly and said, "Beautiful! It is no comparison."
Did you mold it yourself?
Bhumkesh asked disinterestedly. Sir Digandra blew out a mouthful of smoke and said, "Who will do it except me?"
Is it available in the market?
Bhumkesh took the statue from me and asked. Sir Digandra said, "No, why? Would you have bought it if it was?"
Maybe. Why don't you make plaster cast of this statue on a large scale and sell it in market? I think there's money in such a business.
I could understand that Digindra was very annoyed. He said, "If I need money badly, I will take your advice. At present, I don't want to cheapen my work of art by selling it in the market."
Okay, as you wish. We will go now and come again in the afternoon.
Saying this, Mumkesh got up, kept the statue on the table with a loud thud. Satyagindra was at once startled and annoyed. "Are you a fool? You would have broken it just now." Then he looked at Bomkesh like an angry tiger and said, "I have already warned you, Bomkesh Babu, that if you destroy any of my paintings or statues, you will be thrown out of my house."
Okay, sorry for my carelessness. I didn't intend it to do it. Sorry.
Bomkesh looked repentant and said, "Satyagindra, cool down. You know, Bomkesh Babu, I can't tolerate the appearance of my art pieces. Anyway, come in the afternoon. Which side of the house will you search this time? If you want to dig up the garden, I will also make arrangements for that, no? It is good to see you so determined." To be true, we digested his scornful words and came out of the house.
Let's go to the National Library. I have some work there. Let's go.
In the library, Bhumkesh read the portions on plaster castings in great detail. I noticed that for some reason he was quite excited. After returning home, I asked, "Why are you so curious about plaster casting?"
You know I am sometimes unnecessarily curious. That is my weakness, Ajit. Like Digins have a weakness.
Bhumkesh said, "I know that, but what did you find out?"
I found out that the plaster casting is a very simple thing. Anyone can do it. You have to mix some plaster of Paris in water and stir it till it becomes thick. Then you have to pour it slowly into a mold. Within 10 minutes it hardens and then it is to be taken out from the mold. The only thing which is difficult to make this mold.
Now, Bhumkesh, why are you so worried about all these plaster castings?
No, I'm not worried. If a person put a small rounded stone while pouring the plaster of Paris, then it will remain in the statue. Are you getting it, Ajit? What I am trying to say?
What do you mean?
Idiot.
Bhumkesh looked at me quizzically and said,
Whoever understands will realize.
I realized that I was a complete fool that time. In the afternoon, we again went to Satyagendra's house. Again, we searched the house minutely without any result. Satyagendra sometimes came to make scornful digs at us, which was, as I understood, his passion. At last, tired, we came to the sitting room and rested a bit. We were served tea and snacks. I was ashamed to take the tea, but I found that Bomkesh quite shamelessly consumed everything that was served while talking to Digindra amiably. Digindra asked, "For how long are you going to try? Are you not going to give up?"
Today's Wednesday. I have 2 more days left, sir.
said Bomkesh. Satyakandra laughed loudly. Bomkesh did not react but picked up the Nataraj statue from the table and said, "When did you make this one?" Said Digindra thought for some time and said, about 15 or 20 days back? Why?
No, no, no particular reason. We will come tomorrow. Goodbye, sir.
Bhumkesh stood up. As soon we returned, Putiram, our servant, gave us a letter, which he said had been delivered by an uninformed peon. The envelope contained only a visiting card of Kumar Devendra Narayan Roy. On the opposite side was a small note in pencil.
I have arrived just now, putting my up at Grand Hotel. How far have you progressed? Understood, Ajit. Sri Devendra Narayan has wrote this. He is very much eager.
Bhumkesh kept the card aside and sat on the armchair. I realized that he was not happy at the sudden arrival of Kumar Bahadur. When I asked him, he said,
His anxiety, this very much foolish anxiety, may affect the other party. His arrival may make the old man nervous and he may change his plans. Then I will have to begin it all over again. Foolish.
Bhumkesh relaxed in the armchair the whole evening. We usually slept in the same room in two separate beds. Usually we chatted for a long time before going off to sleep in our beds. But this night Bhumkesh was silent. I spoke in soliloquy for some time and then went off to sleep. I dreamt that Bhumkesh, Said Digindra, and I were playing marbles with diamonds. Bhumkesh was winning all the diamonds and Said Digindra was howling like a little boy. I woke up with a start. I found Bhumkesh sitting by my maid in the dark. When he realized that I was awake, he said,
I am sure that the diamond is on the table of his sitting room. I am sure about it.
I asked sleepily, which time of the night is it?
2:30 a.m. Did you notice that the old man always glances at the table whenever he enters the room?
Maybe now you close your eyes and go off to sleep.
Why does he look at the table? Is it in the drawer? No, 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 it's on the table only. What are the things on the table? An ivory ink pot, a small timepiece, a bottle of gun, a few books, a blotting pad, a box of cigars, pen cushions, nutrats. What are there?
I
Let
went
me
off to
think.
sleep. I could hear Bomkesh constantly murmur words on his own. Whenever I
Uh,
woke up at night, I found Bomkesh walking up and down the room, pacing. In the morning, Bomkesh wrote a letter to Kumar Tridev and posted it. He was asked not to worry and to wait till Saturday when Bomkesh would meet him. We went out again. I realized that Bomkesh had come to some conclusion after staying up the whole night. Satyendra was in the sitting room. He welcomed us heartily as soon as he saw us. Welcome, welcome, my inseparable friends. You are very early today. Hey, anyone, bring tea for these two gentlemen. Bomkash Babu, your face is small and you look tired. Could you not sleep at night due to anxiety? Bomkesh picked up the Nataraj from the table and said,
Not anxiety, sir. I am in love with this statue. I could not sleep last night because of this, not for anxiety.
For a minute, their eyes locked. There seemed to be a silent war between these two. After some time, Satyendra laughed and said, I've understood, Vamkesh Babu. What do you mean? You can't cheat this old man. You said you couldn't sleep because of the statue. All right, I'm presenting it to you. Vamkesh was truly startled. Seeing his expression, the old man said, now what? You did not expect this, did you? But don't destroy the statue. It is of great value to me. Vamkesh recovered in a minute, wrapped the statue in a hanky, put it in his pocket, and said,
Thank you.
then again we continued our fruitless search and returned home. Sitting in the chair, Bhumke said,
I was wrong, Ajit.
I said, what happened? I could understand nothing that passed between the two of you.
Okay, see this.
Taking out the statue, Bhumke said,
I was certain after much thought that the diamond was inside the statue. Just think this. A perfect place to hide the stone is the statue. It is in front of everyone's eye, yet no one would suspect anything. Digin could easily put the diamond inside, casting it in plaster of Paris. Moreover, Digin loves the diamond so much that he would always want it near him without raising anyone's suspicion. So I was positive that the diamond was in the statue, and I was going to challenge the old man into admitting it. But I was wrong. Not only did the old man realize what I was thinking of, but my whole theory was gone for a toss. To pile insult to injury, the old fellow gave me the statue as a present. Shit! Now I will have to begin my investigation all over again, and we have very less time in hand, Rajit.
So you have to begin it all over again.
Hmm.
Okay. Bhumkesh turned the statue and wrote his initials below it in pencil. B and B. Bhumkesh said.
Yes, only one day left. I don't think I will be able to keep my promise. Kumar is already in Calcutta. The old man is really making me a laughing stock, Ajit.
Saying this, Bhumkesh kept the statue on the table and sat with his head bent. In the afternoon, as usual, Bhumkesh and I went to the house of Satyendra. We learned that the master had gone out. Bhumkesh tried a new device. He asked me to go away so that he could have a friendly chat with Ujjwal Singh. I wandered around the garden and noticed Ujjwal Singh and Bhumkesh talking. It was true that Bhumkesh could easily gain the confidence of people, but I doubted if he would be able to thaw the Himalayan ice of Nepali Ujjwal Singh. After 2 hours, when the two of us came out of that house, Bhumkesh said,
My efforts were useless. Either Ujjwal Singh is very much stupid, more than you, or is intelligent more than I am.
after returning home, we were informed by a servant that someone had waited for us half an hour and left saying that he would again come back.
Okay,
Bhumkesh tiredly said,
that must be Kumar's man, Ajit. They are very much anxious.
I was tired of the whole business and told Bhumkesh, leave this case, Bhumkesh. This time you will have to admit defeat. Tell Kumar Sahib that you are sorry. Why keep him hoping? Sitting at the table, Bhumkesh was playing with the Nataraj and said,
Let's see, we still have to.
before he could complete his sentence, I found that the expression on his face had changed to one with intense excitement. He was staring at the
Got
Nataraj.
it! Eureka!
What happened?
Ajit, look at this! You must remember that I had written my initials on the bottom of this statue. But this
With
statue
trembling hands,
does not have it.
Bhumkesh passed me the
This
statue.
statue doesn't have it. See it, Ajit.
I saw that the initials which Bhumkesh told me about was not there. But what was there to get so excited about? The initials were written in pencil, it could have been rubbed off.
Can't you understand? What a fool the old man has made us. But a giant has a giant killer too. Putiram!
Bhumkesh shouted. When our servant Putiram came, Bhumkesh asked,
Where the gentleman sat who came to meet us?
in this room, sir?
Where you were with all him all the time?
Yes, but in between he asked for a glass of water, so
Okay, you may go.
Bhumkesh smiled quietly to him.
You will be surprised to know that the diamond was here on our table from morning till this evening.
I was completely surprised and awestruck. Has Bhumkesh gone out of his mind? I heard him talking to Trivendra Narayan over the phone.
Hello, Kumar Bahadur. Listen to what I say very carefully. You will get your diamond by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Your special 10 will be ready. As soon as you get the thing, you should start. It is not safe for you to stay here with the thing. Please see that you leave Calcutta by 10. Alright? I will Arrange the special train. Don't say anything to anyone, okay? Don't even to your secretary. Be very much careful. Ajit, I will go out. Let me go.
Hmm, okay. But where are you going? Then he went out, probably to arrange for the special train. He told me to take my dinner and go to bed because he would be late. I don't know when Bomkesh returned. Next morning at 8:30, we went out as usual. I noticed that the Natraj statue was not in its place on our table. When I asked Bomkesh, he only said,
I have kept it.
Satyendra was in his sitting room. He saw us and said, Ha ha ha, my friends, you have become a habit with me. I've learned to wait for you to come.
Sorry, but we have given you a lot of trouble. We won't anymore. That is what we came to tell you. In a game like this one has to lose and the other one has to win. It is no use for feeling sorry for it, so it is better to accept it. You won't see us from tomorrow. You already know that your nephew is here. Yesterday I told him to leave Calcutta. I will give him my final answer today. I am failed, Sir Digindro. You are truly a genius.
Bumkesh said apologetically. Satyendra stared at Bumkesh. Then he smiled again like a bulldog and said, I'm glad, Bumkesh Babu, that you have come to your senses. Tell my nephew not to waste his time. It is precious.
All right.
Bumkesh picked up another Natraj statue from the table and said,
You have made a new one. Wow. I have kept your gift with a great care. Not only because it is beautiful, but also because it will be a souvenir of your memory. It will be a memento for me. If it breaks, will I get another one?
Satyendra was pleased. Yes, yes, of course, Bumkesh Babu, you will get another one. You have learned to appreciate art in my house. That is a very great thing. With great humility, Bumkesh said,
Really, all these past years, the area of my mind had been covered with a dark curtain. It was in your presence that I began to appreciate art. I've realized what invaluable, priceless matter is hidden in art. I like that painting behind you. Have you done that too? It's
It was a
beautiful.
beautiful painting. Satyendra turned his head to look at it. In a second, Bomkesh showed tremendous leaps of hand by exchanging the Nataraj on one table with the one in the pocket. When Satyendra turned his face, Bomkesh was looking admiringly at the painting.
Wow.
Satyendra said, Yes, I have done it. My heart began thumping with excitement. I heard his voice from a distance. I was lucky that he did not look at my expression. He would surely have caught us out then.
Okay, nice, nice, very nice. But we will leave now. I have benefited after coming in contact with you. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I will never forget you. I hope you too won't forget me. I am a truth seeker, sir. Remember this. My hobby, my passion is to find out the truth. If you ever need me, I will only eager to help you. Come, Ajit. Goodbye, sir. And in the chessboard which is behind you, the next move which I will give will be a checkmate one. Thank you, sir.
Pumkesh got up slowly. I turned around to see that Satyendra was looking at Bomkesh quizzically. His last sentence had definitely struck a stick, half aware of Bomkesh's inner doings. We caught a taxi and began driving to Grand Hotel. I caught Bomkesh by the hand and said, What is happening?
Didn't you understand? My assumption that the diamond was in the Natraj was correct. The old man understood and to puzzle me, presented me with that very statue. Then he made another one exactly like the first and exchanged it with the one he had given to me in my own house. I would not have understood anything if I had not scribbled my initials at the bottom of the statue. See, Ajit, this
Said
thing.
Bomkesh. He turned the statue and showed me the faded initial.
When I found that my initials were not there under the statue last evening, I realized that it has been changed. Everything became clear. Later, you saw the trick I played to exchange the statue in the presence of Digindra. We can be a great thief also, isn't it?
Yeah, Bhumkesh, is sure that the diamond is in this statue? What if it isn't?
If it isn't, then I will think that there is nothing, literally nothing called logic or conjecture or truth in this world, and I will leave truth seeking.
When we brought the Nataraj statue in the hotel, Kumar Bahadur was astonished. Kumar Bahadur said,
This is my uncle's Natraj. Where is the diamond?
It's inside the statue.
I can't understand anything. Are you sure?
said a visibly impatient Kumar.
Okay, so
Bhumkesh struck
see
the
from
statue with a paperweight. The statue broke into 1,000 pieces. Bhumkesh suddenly picked up a diamond from all the crumbled pieces of plaster of Paris and handed it to the gentleman.
take your diamond, Kumar Bahadur.
Although some broken pieces of plaster were still sticking to it, it could easily be recognized as a priceless object, even by amateurs. Kumar Bahadur virtually snatched the diamond from Bhumkesh's hand and stared at it and said delightedly,
Yes, this is my diamond. I don't know how to thank you, Bumkesh Babu. Just look at it. It is giving off a light blue ray.
Now, okay, now you leave Kolkata as fast as you can. If your uncle discovers that the diamond is with you, he will make another plan. Please leave it.
No, no, I will leave just now. But your fees?
Okay, pay me later. First, you must reach home safely. Please go.
We took Kumar Bahadur to the station hurriedly and came back home afterwards. We relaxed in her room. Bhumkesh said smilingly,
I just want to know what the old man will do when he discovers the loss.
Bhumkesh laughed. After a few days, we received a registered envelope from Kumar Bahadur. A check was attached to a letter from him. I read it to Bhumkesh. Ah, dear Bhumkesh Babu, I'm sending you this small sum as a token of my eternal gratitude. Please accept it, although I know that it is a pittance in comparison to your talent. I'm looking forward to meeting you in the near future, the next time I go to Calcutta. I will get to know from you all that happened. Please thank Ajit Babu for me. He is a writer. I don't want to insult his art by offering him money. Oh, hapless writer. If he wishes to write the story of this diamond by changing names and places, then I will certainly not object. You my respects. Yours admiringly, Sir Tribendra Narayan Roy.
Till now, you heard the hidden heirloom. The character of Tridindra Narayan Roy was played with Amritt Bhattacharya. If you had liked the story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, The Midnight Soul, and press the bell icon for the latest updates. And the surprise is also coming. So press the bell icon and like the comment. And you will get our Instagram and Facebook link in the description through which we can join with each other and can be friends. Your feedbacks are highly recommendable. Thanks a lot for the hearing. Thank you.
Subscribe our channel, friends.